The sound of laughter echoed across the luxury parking lot on a bright Saturday morning, but one man never looked up. While expensive sports cars gleamed beneath the warm daylight and wealthy guests admired one another's success, a tired single father quietly held his little son's hand as they walked toward the community charity auto event, hoping to earn enough money repairing small mechanical problems to keep food on their table for another week. What happened next would leave everyone standing there speechless. A joke meant to humiliate an ordinary mechanic would become the moment that changed several lives forever. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't arrive wearing expensive suits or driving luxury cars. Sometimes they arrive carrying a worn toolbox, a gentle smile, and a heart that refuses to give up. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that true character matters more than wealth, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel, Single Dad Empire. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to life. Every morning before sunrise, Rowan Mercer woke inside a tiny rented apartment above an old grocery store. The walls were cracked, the furniture had seen better days, and the refrigerator was almost empty more often than full. Yet every single morning began with the same quiet promise. Rowan would smile at his 8-year-old son, Finn, cook whatever simple breakfast they could afford, and remind the boy that difficult seasons never lasted forever. 3 years earlier, Rowan's wife had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise their son while carrying mountains of debt from medical bills. He had once worked as a master engineer for one of the country's most respected performance automobile manufacturers, designing engines that amazed experts across the industry. But after choosing family over career during his wife's illness, he lost everything that had once defined his professional life. Pride never paid rent, so Rowan quietly repaired cars in neighborhood garages, parking lots, and driveways. Most customers never realized the man tightening their bolts had once designed machines worth millions of dollars. Across the city, Celeste Hawthorne lived inside a world completely different from Rowan's. She was the young CEO of Hawthorne Automotive Group, a company famous for exotic performance vehicles and cutting-edge engineering. Intelligent, ambitious, and admired by the business world, she had inherited the company after losing her parents in an accident years earlier. Success surrounded her every day, but genuine friendship did not. People admired her wealth, feared her authority, or wanted something from her. Even though magazines constantly described her as one of the country's most successful executives, loneliness quietly followed her through every luxury office and every elegant home she owned. That Saturday afternoon, Hawthorne Automotive sponsored a charity exhibition showcasing rare performance cars. Professional mechanics volunteered their skills to raise money for children's hospitals. Rowan had signed up simply hoping to earn enough tips to pay the overdue electricity bill. Wearing faded jeans, clean but worn work boots, and a simple blue work shirt, he looked almost invisible beside mechanics dressed in branded uniforms. Finn proudly carried his father's old toolbox, smiling as though it contained treasure instead of aging tools polished by years of honest work. Rowan gently reminded his son that every customer deserved respect whether they drove an old pickup truck or a $1 million sports car. Finn nodded with innocent confidence because his father had always taught him that kindness cost nothing. Near noon, excitement spread across the parking area as Celeste arrived driving her customized silver Porsche, a one-of-a-kind engineering masterpiece recently modified for testing. Cameras followed her while executives greeted her with applause. During a casual interview, someone jokingly asked if anyone present could solve the mysterious engine problem that had frustrated even the company's senior technicians. Smiling confidently, Celeste laughed that whoever fixed her Porsche deserved more than money. She playfully remarked that she might as well marry the person who finally repaired it because nobody else seemed capable. Everyone laughed. Everyone except Rowan. He simply continued replacing brake pads on an elderly teacher's old sedan. One of the event organizers noticed Rowan's calm confidence and jokingly invited him to try. Several wealthy guests exchanged amused looks. They assumed the poorly dressed mechanic would embarrass himself within minutes. Rowan politely accepted only after finishing work on the teacher's vehicle first. He refused to leave one customer waiting simply because a famous CEO had arrived. That quiet decision caught Finn's attention. His father had always taught him that character revealed itself when nobody important was watching. When Rowan finally approached the Porsche, spectators expected entertainment rather than success. He didn't rush. He didn't boast. He didn't even start the engine. Instead, he slowly walked around the car once, studying subtle details invisible to everyone else. Then he knelt beside the rear wheel, touched a cooling duct, listened carefully for several seconds, and finally opened the hood. The crowd became silent. Instead of focusing on obvious components, Rowan reached toward an almost hidden sensor bracket that nobody else had questioned. He gently loosened one connector, inspected several wiring paths, adjusted a tiny grounding strap no larger than a finger, and tightened two overlooked fasteners. He then cleaned an electrical contact using a cloth from his pocket before asking permission to restart the engine. The Porsche came alive instantly. Not with the rough vibration everyone had heard earlier, but with a perfectly balanced roar that sounded smoother than it had the day it left the factory. Even experienced engineers stared in disbelief. Rowan quietly explained that the expensive replacement parts installed during recent upgrades had never been the real problem. Tiny electrical interference created false performance readings, causing the engine management system to compensate incorrectly. Replacing major components only hid the actual issue. The solution required understanding how every system communicated instead of simply replacing expensive parts. Several senior engineers checked his explanation. Every word proved correct. Celeste's smile slowly disappeared. Not from anger. From genuine amazement. She suddenly realized the quiet mechanic standing before her understood her own company's engineering better than many of its highest-paid specialists. When reporters surrounded Rowan asking where he had learned such advanced diagnostics, he simply smiled and said experience had been his greatest teacher. He never mentioned his previous career. He never tried to impress anyone. He simply packed away his tools and thanked the organizers. Celeste couldn't stop thinking about him. Later that afternoon she found Rowan helping an elderly widow whose old minivan refused to start. Unlike the luxury Porsche, the repair would earn almost nothing. Yet Rowan gave the same attention, patience, and care. That single moment impressed Celeste more than fixing the sports car ever had. Success had taught her how people behaved around money. Kindness revealed who they truly were. She quietly learned about Rowan's life from event volunteers. She discovered the widowed father working endless hours without complaint. She learned about Finn's excellent grades despite growing up with very little. She heard countless stories of Rowan refusing payment from struggling families whenever he knew they needed groceries more than repaired cars. No newspaper had ever written about those moments. No television camera had ever captured them. Yet they mattered far more than any business award. The following Monday, Celeste invited Rowan to Hawthorne Automotive headquarters. Many executives assumed she wanted him to join the engineering department. Others believed she planned to reward him publicly for the publicity his repair had generated. Instead, she spent hours listening. For the first time in years, someone spoke to her honestly without caring about her position. Rowan respectfully criticized several engineering decisions inside the company's newest vehicle platform. Rather than protecting his own pride, he carefully explained practical improvements that would make future cars safer, simpler to maintain, and more reliable for ordinary families. Some executives became defensive. Celeste listened. Over the following weeks, Rowan accepted a consulting position, not because of the generous salary, but because it allowed him to spend evenings with Finn. His first request surprised everyone. Before redesigning luxury performance systems, he proposed creating affordable safety improvements for family vehicles. He remembered what it felt like choosing between repairing a car and buying medicine. No parent should ever face that decision. Engineers who initially dismissed him gradually became his greatest supporters. Rowan never claimed credit alone. Every successful project celebrated teamwork. Every mistake became an opportunity to learn rather than someone to blame. Finn slowly became part of the Hawthorne family as well. Employees loved seeing the cheerful boy after school, happily completing homework while his father finished meetings. The child reminded an entire company why their work mattered beyond profits. Months passed. The company flourished. Customer satisfaction reached record levels. Employees reported higher morale than ever before. The greatest transformation, however, happened inside Celeste herself. She realized genuine leadership wasn't about standing above people. It was about lifting them. One sunny afternoon during another charity automotive event, this time organized entirely by Hawthorne Automotive employees, hundreds of families received free vehicle inspections and repairs. Rowan worked beside apprentices, teaching them patiently. Celeste watched children laughing while parents thanked volunteers. There were no luxury barriers. No social classes. Only neighbors helping neighbors. Standing quietly beside Rowan, she remembered the joke she had made months earlier about marrying whoever fixed her Porsche. She smiled at how foolish those words had once sounded. Real love had never been about repairing an expensive car. It was about repairing broken hope. Years later, people rarely remembered the luxury Porsche or the embarrassing joke. They remembered the single father who refused to let hardship steal his kindness. They remembered the CEO who discovered humility through an ordinary mechanic. Most importantly, they remembered that one small act of respect can rewrite an entire future. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire. Your support allows more inspiring stories of hope, family, and second chances to reach people who need them most. Special request: before this story ends, please comment one word, kindness, if you believe a compassionate heart is worth more than money, power, or status. Because in the end, the greatest engines in the world are never built from steel. They are built from courage, sacrifice, forgiveness, and the quiet determination of ordinary people who choose kindness, even when life gives them every reason to stop.